Hello and welcome to this new channel, Wahnfried Art Brillanté. This will be a virtual library that assembles a large number of playlists that explores the world of classical music. It is about getting back to the heart of things, the heart of Europe, to a time when culture was expanding, and through that emerged the geniuses such as Mozart, Beethoven and Wagner. As well as using that broad term, classical music, there will be playlists that feature painters and also esoteric wisdom. It is about rekindling that European folk soul, that greatness that is sadly lacking today. And if you listen to what is called postmodern classical music, it is devoid of harmony and melody. It is far removed from the way music used to be. I would suggest that you approach listening to any of the playlists where you don't have it just as background sounds, but to fully immerse yourself into it and feel the music inside yourself, what it brings up for you. Find through the growing number of playlists the composers that will communicate from their soul to your soul and reawaken that European folk soul within you. Things that will inspire you and may even lead you to do something very creative that is your own. So this year is 2026 and it marks the 200th anniversary of the passing of a composer, Carl Maria von Weber, who was only 39 and a half years old. He was born 16 years after Beethoven and died the year before. So next year will mark the 200th death bicentenary of Ludwig van Beethoven, and that is followed a year later by the 200th death bicentenary of Franz Schubert. Three of the greatest names in what we call classical music. So there's never been a better time to actually explore this music. There was a time a few decades ago where you would hear on the radio a presenter saying this or that composer had composed, say, 5 piano concertos. The most popular one is, and then, so this is what we're now going to hear. Very frustrating because you didn't get the opportunity, unless you found a specialist record shop, to actually hear these pieces for yourself. But the age we live in today means there is a huge variety, and you can explore pretty much all the compositions of many of the composers today. This channel replaces the previous channel, WAB-ART Productions, which was created in July of 2023 in a sort of preparation as my own personal celebration of the compositions of the composer Anton Bruckner. At this present time, I can no longer access that channel, so I cannot add to it and add further repertoire. So I thought, well, we'll start again with this new channel. So I will be importing the playlists from the old channel and also adding a lot more that is available through YouTube. The challenge that I face is to find uploaded videos, whether they be live performances or studio recordings, that don't have adverts that cut through the middle of the music. I will do my best to try and find you the best interpretations I can that don't have the adverts cutting right through the middle of a piece of music. And of course, it will be very much focused on homegrown talent, those of European ancestry. So you get a far more authentic performance of European music. So we'll start this channel off today, the 4th of April, which to me 44 is one of those magical numbers. So there are 4 playlists of the composer Carl Maria von Weber. So you have the first playlist with his orchestral works, then you have his concertos and solo instruments with orchestra in the second playlist. Then there is also his chamber music, and then finally his piano solo works. I will be adding choral works in due course. I do like to give a little description in each playlist that will tell you something about the composer and then a list of the compositions. This all takes time, of course, so it will be an ongoing process and adding each week more and more. So primarily this channel will be just playlists from other channels, but every now and again I will interject with videos where I talk about certain aspects and things. So I invite you to start with Carl Maria von Weber, who actually married a cousin of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. So I'm also going to be featuring a lot of Mozart's works. Now there's a colossal amount, so that is also going to take a lot of time to put together. But we'll start with a foundation from the previous channel and then build upon that. So I invite you to give Carl Maria von Weber a chance. He's very much a composer that has been really overshadowed by Beethoven, but he was a huge influence on the pianist Frédéric Chopin and also Franz Liszt. And as a composer in his own right, there are these wonderful dance-like melodies. Hence the title of this video is Invitation to the Dance, and also the title of the channel. It has the word Brillanté, which is a sort of reference to a particular piano work by Weber himself. Not only was Weber a composer, he was a virtuoso pianist, a guitarist, a conductor and a music critic. It's amazing that he actually turned out as many works as he did, which runs to something like just over 300, going by the Jan's catalogue of his music. So you have the Weber playlist to choose from, and I've also featured 2 composers that are also overshadowed, this time by their father, Johann Sebastian Bach. So we start with Wilhelm Friedemann Bach, his eldest son, and then Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, who was held in high regard by Joseph Haydn, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and Ludwig van Beethoven. So it's bringing them back into public awareness, because there are some real gems. Now it may be that you're not very familiar with classical music, to use the umbrella term. And certainly in schools, music in particular is one of those subjects that seems to be made deliberately boring. And it puts a lot of people off because you feel like you're the odd one out. You don't feel part of the crowd because it's not fashionable, it's not popular. But you're doing yourself a huge disservice not to explore this music. And I would suggest immersing yourself in nothing but classical music for maybe a week or 2 weeks and see how that makes a difference to your life. So the invitation to the dance is there. It's what Alan Watts called described life. It is a dance. It's not about getting from A to B. It is about enjoying the moment. And certainly of all the arts, music is the one that needs living beings to actually bring it to life. It stands alone really amongst all the arts in that respect. So thank you for listening, and this is just a little introduction video to just tell you a little bit about the channel. It joins a portfolio of 2 other channels, which is Dr. Juan Forfar 7 and Wahnfried Cat Sanctuary, because I have a cat sanctuary in this location in Portugal. Currently there are 6 cats here. There will be a 7th one joining tomorrow. So with that, I'm going to say welcome to the channel, and do let me know in the comments how you find the experience, especially if it is something new to you that you've not tried before. It's about taking a step into the unknown, daring to be different, trying something new, and you may be pleasantly surprised by the results that come from that, how that music makes you feel inside yourself. You may even discover things about yourself that you didn't even know. So with that, thank you very much for listening, and above all else, enjoy the creative genius of these artists and composers.